You guys also see the full video of what the American lady did to those Italian pickpockets? So this American lady who was on vacation with her family in Venice, Italy, she was getting pickpocketed by these two girls in the white shirt.
Stole my purse with my passport in it.
Oh, yeah.
Little girl, I have 8 kids. You're not getting me.
Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the Seekers man who's watching the videos entirely. Comment down below. I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
What animals are they making for this wolf to be the size of a horse? So you can hear a dog barking at this wolf, and you can tell from how far the guy is. This thing is huge.
It is.
This thing is a horse-sized wolf.
God damn, that's a wolf.
Man. That's a good-sized dog too. I'm not sure what happens at the end of this video, but I sure do hope the dog's okay. But this is definitely not a regular-sized wolf. It kind of makes you wonder if this thing escaped some kind of government lab. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
How's that dire wolf off Game of Thrones, bro?
16% of people have dry earwax instead of wet. 8% of people have blue eyes. I'm one of them. Which came from a genetic mutation from one person 6,000 to 10,000 years ago somewhere in Europe. 30% of people can raise one eyebrow independently. I can't do it. I know my wife can do it though. She uses that on me quite a bit. 2% of people can rotate their thumb to touch their wrist. What? Your boy can't do it. 1 in 10,000 people have damage to their amygdala and don't experience the emotion of fear even in life-threatening situations. That just makes sense. Some people, man, they're either not thinking or they just don't experience fear. 4% of people have the inability to visualize images in their mind even if they understand what they look like. 4% of people experienced merged senses like seeing colors when hearing music. 8% of men and only 0.5% of women are colorblind, usually struggling most to distinguish between reds and greens. 1 in 3,000 people are born with either webbed fingers or webbed toes. Did any of these describe you? Were you built different?
How am I just now finding out that people live in the Grand Canyon? When I say in the Grand Canyon, I mean not just along the outskirts, but in the canyon itself. So far deep into the canyon that you either have to take an 8-mile hike to get there or pay for a helicopter to bring you into the depths of the Grand Canyon. The name of this community is called Supai, and it's named after the Havasupai tribe who've been there for over 1,000 years and still occupy the region today. It's considered the most remote village in the lower 48 states. The community is made up of just about 200 people, and they surprisingly have their own postal service, though it's one of the most remote in the country, and packages are delivered by mule. Roughly 5.5 million tourists visit the Grand Canyon each year, but very few realize that the tiny village of Supai is hidden 3,000 feet in its depth. While Supai is not part of the Grand Canyon National Park that everyone is open and welcome to visit, you can visit Supai Village. But in order to do so, you have to enter into a lottery that opens up once every year in the hopes that you'll be granted a permit. And then you have to decide if you'll take the hike, ride a horse or mule, or take a helicopter ride down into the valley. And as a tourist, you're also prohibited from taking any photos or videos of the village once you're there. So why would people want to visit this place? Not just to experience the beautiful culture of its people, but also because it has some of the most stunning waterfalls that one could only dream of getting to experience in this life. Would you go?
Do you believe in guardian angels, or do you believe in just having good luck? Why do I ask? Because a dash cam video captured the moment a bird stopped the speeding car from flying off of a cliff. You heard what I said. A bird flew in front of a car and stopped it from falling off of a cliff. As a matter of fact, take a look at this video. Check this out.
Okay.
Look at that. Guardian angel in the form of a bird. Why? Look at the road. There's nothing there. There's a cliff right on the other side. So my question to you is that bird a guardian angel? Or did it just fly out at the wrong time, but the right time for the drivers of that vehicle? Because in the end, there was an end of that road and nothing but a cliff on the other side. Take a good look at that for yourself. So I guess my question to you is, was that bird a guardian angel? Or was it just perfect timing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Here's
Guardian
some hidden
angel.
secrets in movies that you may have missed. Part 8. After falling asleep once his parents leave, the boy in the Polar Express, whose name was never mentioned, wakes up 5 minutes before midnight. He finds that his clock has stopped ticking, and soon after the train arrives. After arriving at the North Pole, the nerdy boy makes a comment that it was 5 minutes till midnight 4 minutes ago. The clock only reaches midnight when the first gift of Christmas is given, indicating that Santa controls the time and the entire movie takes place in just 5 minutes.
Switzerland are quietly preparing for the end of the world. They've been hustling for decades. You wouldn't know it by just looking at them, but underneath around 60% of the Swiss Alps, they've built a city of doomsday bunkers that can protect hundreds of thousands of people in a catastrophic event. In fact, Switzerland is the only country in the world that can house their entire population, 8.7 million people, in a secure bunker. And they're not just old, forgotten World War II structures slowly crumbling away. They are continuously updated and restocked with supplies till this day. You see, Switzerland decided they needed to, excuse the pun, lock in after Germany promised to not invade them during World War II. They not only transformed the peaceful Swiss Alps into an absolute fortress and rigged it with enough explosives to collapse entire mountainsides, but the Swiss government also made it a law for homes, schools, hospitals, and other public buildings to install protective shelters, and that policy remains till this day. Meaning the entire country is designed in a way that wherever you go, whether it's a restaurant, a park, or a friend's house, there's always a doomsday bunker nearby. According to official figures, Switzerland currently has around 300,000 bunkers across the country, which can accommodate roughly 9.3 million people. That's over 500,000 more than the country's current population. And once they're safely inside, they can even remotely detonate things like roads, bridges, tunnels, and railways to keep out invaders, or I guess, the unprepared.
So
why does Switzerland? I feel like, man, everybody should have, every country should be like that, man. What's going on, man? Is Switzerland, they know something we don't?
And we got zombie deers too? You can't make this up, y'all. What the fuck is really going on at this point? Why the fuck do we got zombie deer, zombie squirrels, and zombie rabbits? What's next? Zombie dog? Zombies in general? I'm not gonna lie, y'all. If it comes down to us having a zombie apocalypse, I'm already knowing what to do. I'm not gonna unalive my family, though. I will knock out their teeth and probably cut off their hands or some shit. But nah, all jokes aside, look at this shit, y'all. Why the fuck are these deers having big ass black things coming out of their face? I'm so serious when I say I feel like this shit is not normal. They tell us names. Oh, this one is called this one is called that, the deer one is called that. Well, bruh, these names I have never heard of before. I can go ask my parents, have y'all ever heard or seen anything like this? And they'd be like, no. So I need y'all down below in the comments to go ask your parents and come back and tell me, have they ever seen anything like this before? I'm telling you, in 2026, we're probably gonna see shit we never seen before. And maybe even later in this year, because y'all all know we're supposed to be getting a little surprise from another thing from another planet, supposedly, allegedly. But I didn't had enough, y'all. I cannot take this shit. Got the plague coming back. Like, what the fuck?
She killed her parents and then asked true crime influencers to cover the story. She was smiling, but now she's not. She's being charged with murdering her mom and stepfather in Georgia. She reached out to a bunch of true crime influencers on TikTok to cover the story. I think maybe that was a cover-up, and now the judge denied her bond, so now she's breaking down and crying because I think she thought she was going to get away with this. Apparently her 6-year-old sister is the one that found the bodies, however she was the one that called the police, and then this whole ordeal happened when she was trying to cover it up. When she reached out to influencers, she kept saying how big of a hit, the story would be and everything like that. Please cover my parents, it'd be a big hit, it'd be a big story. She was seen walking into court, like hugging her lawyers, and then a bunch of people started giving testimonies, and that's when she broke down crying after the bond was denied and everything started. Authorities are keeping her in jail too. They are not letting her roam free at all, just in case she tries to slip away. A motive for the killings have not been released yet. I'm not sure what could have happened here, because From what I've gathered from the evidence, it seemed like a good, happy family, and she was a good student and everything like that, you know? It's one of those random cases you don't really expect to happen. Her next court date is set for September 22nd. I'm sure she's probably going to go away for like 5 to 10 years because she's a juvenile that probably can't charge her as an adult. We'll see. Georgia has different rules, so maybe.
This girl is
Just for
500 years old and is coming back to life. Seriously, this is insane. It's not going to sound real, but it is 100% true. So this girl died 500 years ago, and scientists actually estimate she was sacrificed due to the way that she was found. But you're probably all thinking she looks like she died yesterday. Like, how is she still in this form? Well, she was basically cryogenically frozen for free because she was kept at an altitude of over 6,000 meters above sea level, meaning her body was completely frozen and therefore preserved in this way. She was discovered back in 1999 at the top of this volcano, the Lulucana volcano in Argentina, by this guy here, Johann Reinhard, and his team when they were exploring. And I mean, bit of a shock when you find that up there. Ever since this, she has actually been preserved in this condition, but here's where it gets interesting. The Argentinian research team who were doing work on her after they discovered her really did find out that she actually still had organs and potentially even blood in her body, which does kind of make sense because she was frozen at that altitude. Like, if you're cryogenically frozen, we know that, oh, maybe you could come back to life in the future. The body is now in the Museum of High Altitude in Argentina. You can actually go and see it, but a lot of people have claimed she could just wake up at any moment because she has her organs and blood in her. So this one is kind of 50-50 because, yeah, it is true that she did have her organs in her. She does genuinely look like she died a few days ago and is preserved. But it's also trash because I doubt she's going to be waking up anytime soon. There's no way she's just getting up and strolling out of the museum. Like, it's just not going to happen, mate.
They found proof to a story that happened in the Bible. You ever hear the story of Sodom and Gomorrah? Oh no. In the Bible, there was this city. People in the city were sinning and they're doing terrible acts, right? And God wanted to punish the city, and he said, I'm gonna send fire to destroy it. But I'm gonna warn this family there that I think they're good people. This family of this guy named Lot. Now, Lot, the angels came to him and warned him, hey, you guys have to leave because the city's gonna go up in flames. So they all dipped, they all left out, right? Immediately, when they started leaving, balls of fire started hitting the city. Holy shit. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Engulfing the entire city into flames. One rule God said to them is you cannot look back. But it was so tempting for his wife. She really wanted to see what's happening to the city. So she turned her head and looked out at the city. Yeah. And she turned into a pillar of salt. What? Just recently, they found the pillar of salt. Wait, where? On a mountain that seemed to be the direction Lot and his family would have escaped from. Yo! Yeah, archaeological evidence. They found the whole city. There's a sulfur. They have no explanation for it. Also, it's true, that pillar is completely salt. Everything else is different material. And what's so interesting, they cracked into it. They did tests and they found bio-organic material that could have been from someone or something living. It lines up to Lot's wife in the story of Sodom.
Yo! You've probably
lining
heard
up
by now, but there was massive fights between two major actors on the filming of Avengers Doomsday. And speculatively, we now know who those major actors are. And just so you know, it's cost the studios millions of dollars because they had to rewrite the script, keeping these two actors separate, reshoots, and everything. Now I think they should lean into this publicity. Not that this movie needs any help making money, but the more we feel involved, the more we're gonna want to see it. Now, if you haven't guessed already who the actors are that are beefing on set, it's rumored that it's Robert Downey Jr., and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. This makes so much sense. And I'm not saying this because Robert Downey Jr. is a problem. I'm saying this because we all know that Ryan Reynolds is a notorious jerk on set. He's mean for no reason. So it makes total sense that Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Reynolds are beefing on set. Honestly, they should make them do more scenes together. They should rewrite the script to make it so that Iron Man and Deadpool are beefing the entire movie.
Is Area 51 just a big distraction from something else? We all know what Area 51 is, so we're not going to waste any time on that. But many people believe that it is just an area that is used for smoke and mirrors. Somewhere that is used to create attention so we ain't looking anywhere else. And it astonishes me how many people know about Area 51 but don't know who Bob Lazar is. Bob Lazar was an ex-Area 51 worker. He come out and basically said that he was an engineer and his job was to reverse engineer spacecrafts. So they would get an alien spacecraft, they would give it to Bob. Bob would then dissect it and try and figure out how it was made, what it's made of, and what its purpose is. However, Bob said that Area 51 is not where we think it is. He claims it's actually up in the mountains in an underground facility. And it's weird because when you look at it on a satellite, there is a road that leads all the way there and stops. Is Bob telling the truth? Or is it more than that? People also believe that Area 51 is actually in the Antarctic because we know how secretive that place is. And I guess for me that makes more sense because it's not as if any person can just turn up at the Antarctic, but we can turn up at the gates at Area 51. I don't know, this is something that really interests me and I would like people's opinions on what they think, one, Area 51 is, and two, where it is.
3 extremely scary things that actually exist. Number 1, invisible fire. Different gases burn different colours. For example, borax burns green, copper chloride burns blue, and methanol doesn't have a colour at all. This race car driver's car burnt into a methanol fire, but you could not see the flames because they were invisible. However, the race car driver was still on fire. Number 2, the Bolton Stride. Looking at this picture, you would not think there is anything dangerous about it. Wrong. The current of this stream is that strong that if you stood in it, you would be sucked under and you would never resurface. And number 3, locked-in syndrome. Everybody's worst nightmare. This is where you are fully aware of what is going on, but you are fully paralysed. They say you can still move and blink your eyes to communicate.
Boy got a pencil stuck in his ear, but it turned out to be something much worse. This little boy went to the hospital with his grandma when he said he broke a pencil off in his ear. He said he was playing around with a pencil in his ear when it accidentally snapped in half. When the doctor was trying to find it in the little boy's ear, he asked to describe the pencil, and the boy responded saying it was a very small part of the pencil, and the doctor wanted to remove it as fast as physically possible, because leaving it in his ear could cause an infection and even death. But when the doctor pulled it out, he realized the boy was lying about what was actually in his ear. But before I tell you, did you know you can play 2K as legendary Kobe, Michael Jordan, and LeBron? It's literally free on your phone, and if you want to play, just press here. Instead of pulling out a pencil, he pulled out a watch battery. The doctor also said he couldn't see his eardrum anymore because it pierced a hole right through it. But luckily, they grow back, and it should be back to normal within just 6 weeks. You should never wear AirPods, and this is why. 23-year-old Zane bought a new pair of AirPods on June 23rd, 2020. He immediately started wearing them because he was excited about his new purchase. And he was in a phone call when randomly one of the AirPods exploded. Immediately after the explosion, he took one of the AirPods out and realized he couldn't hear anything out of his left ear except for a ring. He then drove to the hospital and the doctors told him that he ruptured all of the skin in his ear. It also fractured all of the cartilage in his ear. Thankfully, after taking a few antibiotics for a while, he was able to make a full recovery.
Did you guys also see the full video of what the American lady did to those Italian pickpockets? So this American lady who was on vacation with her family in Venice, Italy, she was getting pickpocketed by these two girls in the white shirts, and the American lady showed these two Italian pickpockets. If you're gonna F around, you're gonna find out. And this is where it gets so much more worser. The American girl grabbed this Italian pickpocket girl by her ponytail and dragged her through a crowd, refusing to let go. And after the American lady told the Italian pickpocket to give her passport back, then the Italian pickpocket started screaming, saying that she is going to get the police. Then the American tourist lady clapped back with the most funniest comeback ever.
You stole my purse with my passport in it. Little girl, I have 8 kids. You're not getting me.
But this is where it gets even more insaner. Police ended up taking these two girls in, but now just a few days later, they have been spotted out in public again. This is just proof that you do not F around with Americans. Do you think that the American lady went too far, or was she justified?
I mean, they took her passport, bro. Without that, she can't even get back to the country. So, he was asking what was rightfully hers, bro. It could have went. The situation could have been worse, man. I think they got off easy. If it was anybody else, bro, they might have been scrapping, bro. I'm like, I'm gonna need my passport back. You ain't going nowhere, bro. No talking, no nothing, man.
Oh man, what do they call the reps? Bro. Hey, it's for real.
We just spent the last 17 hours together.
You're a robot.
Nah, you can't say that.
What's up, buddy?
Nah, we're gonna address that after this call. We're not letting that slide.
He's a reptile, man.
Now, I'm sure that he was just joking around, right? Just kidding with a friend of his, right? Right? Huh? Or is there something more going on here? Because if you noticed, Mr. Beast kind of got a little bothered when Aiden Ross called him what he called him. Why would that be? I don't know what's going on here. I'm just sharing this clip. That's all that I am doing. It's there. You just gotta listen. It's always in plain sight.
So let's talk about how they found the real BlackRock, y'all. Did y'all hear about this? A couple of guys were out fishing off the coast of Labrador, Canada. I guess you know what I'm saying. But in the meantime, while they were looking for shrimp, they came across this very rare black iceberg. The iceberg's color appeared to be this jet black. It's almost like an alien structure, to be exact. It looks like a giant moldavite. Now they're saying the color of the iceberg is due to volcanic ash. But again, it's the only one, right? They saying it might be a remnant of a huge meteorite that struck the earth 100,000 years ago. They have no idea. They're just speculating. What they're also stating is that this is also a direct byproduct of what they're calling climate change. So now we may be seeing more black icebergs, y'all. Like, can y'all believe that? This is probably why the name BlackRock was such a thing, and it's so viral now. So maybe we're gonna start seeing more of these with this whole transition that's going on with the planet. They say the rock is visually stunning. Like, it almost has this magnetic effect on you when you see it. It makes you want to get closer and closer. So this right here must be way more than they're telling us. And of course, we're never gonna hear anything about this. But I just thought y'all should know. Did y'all know about this, y'all? Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. Something great is happening. The shift is here. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
Have time travelers left proof behind? Yeah, proof that they went to the past? Like this spark plug that was found encased in a 500,000-year-old rock. X-rayed and analyzed. Found in 1961. A rock with a spark plug inside of it, baby. Could a time traveler have purposely left that behind? And in the 500,000 years that followed, that spark plug got encased in a rock. You know, rocks don't just grow around stuff overnight. So if you were a time traveler and you wanted to leave a clue that you went to the past, but the powers to be didn't want anybody to know, why not just leave something that wasn't around 500,000 years ago so people in the future could find it, like a spark plug? How else could there be a 500,000-year-old spark plug? Because they weren't using spark plugs 500,000 years ago.
Preach.
What do you think, Fooshkies? Let me know in the comment section. Shabadoo to all the time travelers out there. Shabadoo.
Here are the most painful makeup prosthetics actors were forced to wear. When Jim Carrey played the Grinch, he said he had to sit through 8 hours of painful makeup sessions every day. He said putting on the makeup felt like he was being buried alive. The suit was so itchy and painful that after the first day of filming, he kicked a hole through the wall and was going to quit the movie. So Jim Carrey hired a CIA expert who trained him on how to deal with torture. Buddy Ebsen played the original Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. However, you never actually see him in the movie. This is because the original Tin Man outfit and makeup contained real aluminum, which is extremely toxic. This caused Buddy to be rushed to the hospital where he almost died.
Oh. Those actors, man. Those prosthetics.
Top 5 countries with the longest school days. Australia 6.5 hours. France 8 hours. South Korea 8 hours. Kenya 8 hours. China 9.5 hours.
Here's why you should stop rubbing
that.
your eyes.
That was no joke. You seriously need to stop rubbing your eyes as much, and here's why. Trust me, you might want to favorite this video because you might need this as a reminder in the future. Let's be honest, we're all guilty of this at some point. But I bet you didn't know that continually rubbing your eyes can actually cause really bad damage to your cornea. In fact, it can thin out your cornea, causing it to bulge. I mean, let's go back to the MRI footage. This is someone rubbing their eye, visibly being able to see the pressure it puts on your eye, and the way that the eye can actually change shape, increasing the pressure on your eye by 20 times. And it gets worse if you rub your eyes with your knuckles or the back of your hands. So although the occasional rub probably won't do you any harm, consistently doing it and consistently doing it hard could lead to potential vision loss. So saying this to literally anyone you know, because for their eyes' sake, they need to see this. Elon!
This woman who recently competed in the Olympics in Paris was just murdered. This is 27-year-old Rebecca Cheptegei, and she was a marathon runner in Uganda. Rebecca competed in the women's marathon in the Olympics, and she finished in 44th place. Not long after returning from Paris, on August 31st, she was set on fire by her boyfriend. They identified this man as Dixon Edema, and apparently they were arguing over a piece of land. The attack happened outside of Rebecca's house, and it was said that her daughter tried to help her and save her, but this man had kicked her and also tried to beat her as well. It was said that Rebecca was found by neighbors who heard the arguing, and they were the ones who put out the fire. These burns were so severe it covered 80% of her body, and that's why she did not survive. But her boyfriend was also burned, but it only covered about 30% of his body, and he is now in stable condition. This is so sad, and violence towards women in Uganda is very common. There's actually been a few athletes who have been murdered by their partners in the last few years.
Maps that will...
That needs to change, man. She was literally in the Olympics, and then her whole freaking life trajectory changed, man. That's just for her.
Change the way you see the world. This is a unique visual that shows what the Roman Empire citizens believed was the entire world. This is what Chile looks like stretched across all of Europe. This is what all the uninhabited land in the United States looks like. This map shows the largest employer in each US state. These are the average train speeds across Europe. This map shows the distribution of ticks that are infected with Lyme disease across the United States. This map shows in the United States how many people commit violent crimes per 100,000 residents. This is a topographic map of Europe. This map shows the percentage of population in each Europe country that has never used the internet before. This map is comparing the populations of cities in Greece and Turkey, with each little square representing about 250,000 people. This map shows the most popular streaming services across all the countries in Europe. Can you guess where this puzzle piece is from? You're able to guess what country this is just by the shape.
If you haven't heard about this,
I couldn't get those last two. Could you?
Police across the world are warning people of this literally as we speak, and you would never even realize you've been scammed until this. But there is a new scam which only takes one person to do it in one simple move. And what it does is allow hackers to get into your phone, get access to all your personal information, cards, any single thing you own. So how this works is you'll get a package outside your door, like you would from a brand. It could be Amazon, it could be Pretty Little Thing, anything that you're buying.
Okay.
It could be from a company that you buy stuff from regularly, so you just think, oh, I'm a loyal customer, give me a free gift. You open it up, there could be something inside. It might be a t-shirt, it might be a hoodie, it might be some shoes, whatever. Then there'll be a QR code in there that says, thanks for your loyalty, please scan here. Obviously you're going to scan it. Why wouldn't you? Well, if you scan this QR code, that's where this happens. They will then be able to get into your phone from scanning that link. You literally would not be able to tell that this has happened to you until you see the money going out of your account or something like that. So yeah, if you don't order a parcel, just be wary if there's a QR code in there that it's telling you to scan. Do your research, please, because it could save you a lot of money. Now, of course, please share this video around with anybody you know, friends and family, because I know some of the older generation would scan it in an instant. Without more time, and I will keep you updated.
China has just had to urgently...
Nothing is left for free.
400,000 people after they were hit by one of the most powerful super typhoons in over a decade. And for perspective, a super typhoon is equivalent to that of a Category 5 hurricane. All schools in the area that made landfall were shut. Trains, boats, and flights were suspended, and all tourist attractions have been closed down. The winds near its center reached a staggering 145 miles per hour, and this typhoon has doubled in strength after it killed more than 16 people in the Philippines last week. It's now predicted to move along and hit Vietnam this weekend.
Uncommon human traits. Being able to move one eyebrow, 25% of people. Growing a full beard, 1 in 5 men. Having dimples 1 in 5 people. Going bald 1 in 8 men. Having an outy belly button 1 in 10 people. Being left-handed 1 in 10 people. Having curly hair 1 in 10 people. Having blue eyes 1 in 10 people. Having green eyes 1 in 50 people.
That's very rare. Green eyes 1 in 50, man. That just shows you that the rarity. I see blue eyes often, but never green eyes, man. It's very rare if I see somebody with green eyes.
Did you know these facts? The Boeing factory is so large they had to install a one-of-a-kind air circulation system to stop clouds from forming inside of the building. This is the world's smallest drawbridge in Bermuda. The US Navy is known to have used Xbox controllers to control the periscopes on submarines. James Cameron was homeless when he wrote The Terminator. He sold the rights for $1 on the condition that he was the one to direct the movie. A race was held in 1888 between a pigeon and a bee for 3 miles, where the bee won by 25 seconds. Camels have 3 eyelids that helps protect their eyes from the blowing sand. Cherries are dried with helicopters. It would take you 18 months to walk the Great Wall of China. The USA speaks more than 350 different languages. Scientists are out there making arguments that we may have more than 5 senses, one of them being magnetoreception, which is the ability to sense magnetic fields, and the other is chronoception, which is the ability to sense time passing.
You won't believe what this man saw during the 2024 solar eclipse. Reddit user Blakester731 said that him and a couple of friends went to watch the solar eclipse at a fishing spot out in the backwater in Tennessee. It was a secluded area that also hosts a small Trail of Tears memorial. They passed the stone monument on their way to go fishing, which acknowledged the removal of the Cherokee from their native land and the tragedies that occurred there. He said that him and his friends gave it their private respects and moved along to the fishing spot. Time passed like any other day out fishing, and they were having a good time. Towards the afternoon, the dark shape of the moon started to move closer to the sun. The woods all of a sudden became very quiet. The sounds of birds, flies, and cicadas all seemingly disappeared. Then the eclipse started, and the world got darker around them. Colors and weird shadows split across the ground. Reddit user Blakester731 said that he was switching from his light-resistant glasses to the landscape around him. He looked towards the trees, and then finally, the moon was full and only the sun's halo showed behind it. He took the glasses off to see it more clearly, and then he says, they were there. He said that they were like reflections and shadows standing around them. There were tall, dark human shapes surrounding them. There were hundreds of them in the woods, behind the trees, and on the shoreline. He screamed and fell out of his chair. His friends then took their glasses off and shot out of their chairs too. They all grouped together and started moving towards their truck. But just as the moon moved off the sun, the shadow figures vanished. The whole thing had lasted less than 3 minutes, but they got out of there as fast as they could.
Gruesome facts.
Hey man, people, they saying they saw different stuff during the solar eclipse, man. That didn't happen like a while ago, like a couple of months ago if I'm not mistaken. So, Seekers, where were you guys at, man, when that solar eclipse happened? I was outside just trying to look up at it with the glasses, making sure nothing weird was going on, but everybody has a different story.
You didn't know, part 219. This is the last video taken of Steven Weber, who proposed to his girlfriend underwater. While on a trip in Tanzania, the couple were staying in a submerged room. Steven swam underwater to the outside of the room with a note and a ring. The front of the note read, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you. But everything I love about you, I love more every day." When he turned the note over, it read, "Will you please be my wife? Marry me?" He then produced a ring from his pocket before swimming out of frame. Tragically, he never made it to the surface and drowned. The Mark Jackson basketball card from 1990 has 2 unique guests featured in the background. The Menendez brothers can be seen sitting courtside after murdering their parents and prior to their arrest. When the SS Daniel J. Morrell began to sink on Lake Huron in 1966, the crew believed they were just moments from being rescued when they spotted lights that they believed was from another boat. To their horror, they discovered that the lights were actually from the severed stern of their own ship. It was barreling towards them under the power of the ship's engine.
Alright, so these are the insects that's usually on your strawberries.
Come again?
So far we got some mites,
And it's pretty normal if you want fresh organic vegetables and fruits, they're gonna have bugs on them. Let's see how much are when you rinse them or wash them off. Ooh, looks like just rinsing them for a few seconds got rid of a lot of the insects. Now I will say, even though you wash them off on the outside, there's still the inside, which I'm sure contains plenty of insects because they burrow themselves in. So even when you wash your fruit and veggies, just know there might be insects inside the fruits and veggies as well. Which is a good source of protein, I guess, right?
You die in this VR game, you die in real life. Yes, this video is not fake. This is genuinely something that was just invented, and you won't believe who by. And it's not as crazy a person as you might think, which kind of makes it even more terrifying. It is almost unbelievable the world's first VR headset that literally kills you if you die in the game has just been created. And just quickly, TikTok are now showing you your lookalike on the app. Just tap share copy more, and if you've got one, it will come up. The man who invented it, Palmer Luckey, is a leader in VR, a government contractor, and the creator of Meta's Oculus headset. So this is the real deal. The headset is hooked up to 3 explosive charge modules that sit above the screen. The charges are aimed directly at the user's forebrain, and should they go off, would obliterate the head of the user. He said he created it because only the threat of serious consequences can make the game feel real to you and every other person in the game. He even says that he wants to work on an anti-tampering model that cannot be removed or destroyed. So if you decide to put it on, there is no going back. Thankfully, this headset is not commercially available yet. Would you play this with any of your friends?
Did you know these?
Hell no, man. They trying to freaking, that's saying this VR stuff, man, they trying to make it too weird, bro. Virtual reality is only supposed to be real up until a point. But now, like you said, he wants to make one where it can try to like lock you in, you can't even take it off your head. Don't buy that VR set, seekers.
Facts. Jesse Pinkman and Walter Jr. were never in an episode of Breaking Bad. Amelia Earhart had a co-pilot when she went missing. Bill Withers wrote the song Ain't No Sunshine while he worked for a factory that built airplane toilet seats. A bear was the first living being to survive a supersonic ejection. Dr. Phil lost his psychology license in 2006, and all guests on his show have to sign a contract that says that they are getting advice from an individual and not a psychologist. Gaming tournaments are now adding clauses to allow judges to penalize players for dirty clothing or terrible odor as much as giving them a full loss. Berlin has still not recovered from its pre-World War II population count. A school principal made a student that was in trouble sit in the basement and read the US Constitution. That student was Thurgood Marshall. He memorized the entire Constitution and became the first ever black Supreme Court justice.
Here's some Disney Channel stars that went to jail, but each time the crime gets worse. Starting off, Mitchell Musso, who played Oliver Oaken in Hannah Montana, was pulled over in 2011 for driving under the influence. He was only 20 at the time and was arrested and released on bail. Because of this, his character was written out of Pair of Kings, and his show Prank Stars was canceled. Next up, Adam Hicks, who played Luther on Zeke and Luther and had a starring role in Lemonade Mouth, was arrested a couple times, but most recently for an armed robbery with his girlfriend. His sentencing was delayed multiple times due to mental health evaluations and was eventually given a 5-year sentence. But he's now currently on parole and making music on TikTok. Moving on, Lindsay Lohan was Disney's golden child in the early 2000s, starring in iconic movies such as The Parent Trap, Freaky Friday, and Mean Girls, before getting into trouble with the law. She's been arrested for driving under the influence, drug possession, violating her probation, a theft charge, and has even had a bench warrant out for her arrest. And finally, Phil Lewis, who played Mr. Mosby on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, was arrested and charged for vehicle manslaughter after killing a 21-year-old girl while drunk driving. When they tested his blood alcohol, it was 3 times the legal limit. He was originally given a 5-year sentence, 2 years of probation, and 350 hours of community service, but ended up only serving 1 year due to his work with prison-based theater groups that performed in jails, churches, and schools to highlight the consequences of drug abuse.
That's our childhood, bro. Exposed, man.
Like pandas, right? They'll usually have twins, but since they don't have the facilities to take care of more than one, let's just say Zach might be fine, but Cody getting canceled. Mary Kay might be okay, but Ashley ain't. And that's assuming Big Mama don't roll in her sleep and flatline her first choice. So what Zoos will do is they'll have twins running shifts with their mom. That way both Cubs have a chance at life. Whole time the desaturated deadbeat is convinced she only had one. Here are some other horrible mothers of nature. The Harp Seal, because she's actually a good mother. for like 2 weeks. Then she leaves the kid on ice even though it won't be able to swim or really do anything for itself for the next 6 weeks. Posting your child to chase more seal peel is negligent. Doing it in God's icebox is outrageous. And pulling that in polar bear country is just diabolical. The scorpion, because she literally carries her entire family on her back to protect them from predators. Pretty f***ing ironic, because if there is enough food around, she'll take some of the brood off her back and have herself a kid's meal. This guy, and I think you know why, because marsupials like quokkas, wallabies, and kangaroos will evict their child out the pouch as a last resort against predators. Logically, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Morally, it puts you in the class of Casey Anthony. This welfare fraud with wings. Not only do they con other birds into raising children they have no parts in, it is scientifically documented that cuckoos will use mob violence to force them to do it. So to be fair, the first thing the cuckoo chick does is yeet every foster sibling out the nest. And when you're born that much of a cockwife, there isn't much hope for your future, the more you know.
During World War II,
well, you know, he said it.
They wanted to take back Ramree Island from the Japanese. So on January 21st, 1945, British and Indian infantry stormed the beaches of Ramree to try to take it back. As soon as they land, they have all this naval artillery support bombing the crap out of this airbase, but the Japanese do not want to surrender, and instead they give up the airbase that they were on, so the British take that back, and the remaining 1,000 Japanese soldiers started retreating to the opposite end of the island. But the only issue with this particular retreat was they would have to go through 10 miles of mangrove swamp. So that night, as the British are just kind of hanging out in their boats staring at the swamp, they start hearing screams coming from inside of this swamp. It's Japanese soldiers. They hear gunfire, and then silence. And the British are watching this like, do we have troops in there? What's going on in there? What was going on in there is defined by the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest massacre of humans caused by animals. And not just any animal, saltwater crocodiles. Saltwater crocodiles are notorious night hunters. So what probably happened is the Japanese got inside of this mangrove. The crocodiles were immediately aware of their presence, but they waited until nighttime before they started having a feeding frenzy. And at the end of their retreat, when the Japanese did get to the other side of this swamp, only 500 of the 1,000 made it out the other side. And so to this day, people stay far away from Ramree Island because there are so many of these man-eating saltwater crocodiles that have no issue ripping you to shreds.
Whew. Dark time of history. Never knew that, man. Watching these clips always expands my knowledge base.
Is it actually dangerous to tickle a stingray? Tickling a stingray, as depicted in a viral video where a man appears to make a stingray laugh, might seem like a harmless and amusing interaction. However, experts caution against such actions for several reasons. And just quickly, check if you've got any free TikTok tokens to claim. Tap share, copy, then more, and you'll see if you have any. Primarily concerning the safety and well-being of the animal. Stingrays, like many aquatic creatures, are not accustomed to being handled by humans, especially in ways that are unnatural to them, such as tickling. These animals are adapted to life in water, where they have evolved specific behaviors and responses to their environment. Interactions like tickling can be stressful and potentially harmful to stingrays. They may not have the same sensory responses as mammals, and what appears as laughter or enjoyment is likely a misinterpretation of their natural reaction to an unusual stimulus. Furthermore, stingrays have defense mechanisms, including the well-known sting in their tail, which they use when they feel threatened or stressed. Attempting to tickle or otherwise interact closely with a stingray can provoke this defensive response, posing a risk of injury to the person involved. From an ethical standpoint, respecting wildlife and maintaining a safe distance is crucial for the conservation and well-being of these animals.
Top 3 creepy last words
tickle a stingray.
said right before dying.
Simple.
A nurse who wants to remain anonymous said that she had a sweet patient named Ella who started to lose herself to dementia. She started talking to herself. Most of the time it was playful. She would laugh to herself. One day, the nurse walked into her room and she was in a complete panic. She had her blanket pulled up to her chin and she was completely pale. The nurse went to her bedside to ask her what was wrong, and she said, "There is a woman in black looking in my window, and I am just petrified of her smile." The nurse said that it shook her hard. Reddit user Simple Simon6262 said that when he was a student, he got called in on a stroke patient. She had coded and they were doing CPR. They worked for 45 minutes. But she died. They cleaned her up and called on her family to say goodbye. By the time her family left, she had been both brain dead and without a pulse for over 45 minutes. He said that blood had filled her brain and she was completely gray and had started to the smell. Suddenly, she sat up and called for her family. The nurses rushed to get equipment and monitors back on her. She stabilized, said goodbye to her family, and promptly died a second time. Reddit user AJH1717 said that he works in a cardiovascular surgical ICU. He said that they had a stretch of nights where each corner room of their unit reported seeing a black cat walking around. Not a friendly cat either, apparently. The thing was hissing at them. The accounts were so similar to each other that they probably spent half an hour looking for the cat. Then they had security look as well. No cat was ever seen or found. 2 of those 4 patients coded the next day.
Have scientists just proven that we actually live in a simulation? I cannot believe what I'm about to tell you. Trust me, you're gonna want to favorite this video because this could actually change the world.
Break it down for us.
Essentially, the new laws of physics support the concept that we are living in a computer simulation. Now please, stay with me. This is all being researched by a man named Melvin Vopson. A name which after this video you're probably going to want to bring up in your next therapy appointments. Claiming that we are all characters in an advanced virtual world. He claims that the physical behavior of information in our universe resembles the process of a computer deleting and compressing code. Now do you want to know what that means? So the fucking I. However, it's his next quote specifically that makes me go, "Wah!" Clue that perhaps the machines hope we don't notice. You're right, Melvin, mate. These are some bold claims that we are absolutely living in a computer simulation. Bold enough claims to give Matthew nightmares. There is so much more on this, including the fact that he believes symmetry in our world is the clue to everything, saying that all biological life presents some form of symmetry. As well, solids and crystals also have symmetry, because apparently symmetry is the best way of optimizing and rendering a digitally constructed world. That's why we have symmetries everywhere rather than asymmetries. I'm way too deep down this rabbit hole. What do you think, computer simulation or real life?
See, because what do you guys think, man? We in a simulation? You guys know what my background is, so. Is it true, man? We in the Matrix, bro? We just don't know it yet? We gotta wake up, bro. Rage Against the Machine, man. I'm definitely gonna have to check up that, man. Sounds like a deep rabbit hole, bro. Sounds worth it, though.
This whole Smart Schoolboy 9 situation just got far crazier. I cannot believe I'm actually saying this. So I'm sure you're all very aware of this whole Smart Schoolboy 9 situation. It's going crazy on social media right now. Since this whole thing came out, it's finally been revealed what his face actually looks like without the makeup and weird clothes on. And yeah, it is just like, this guy's a full-on 59-year-old man. What is bro doing? There he is. Still fully dressed up. Now, since this whole thing broke, there has been many people coming forward saying about their interactions with him. Apparently he even has links to the guy who made salad fingers, so that explains it. We know his name appeared in this news article about school uniforms and how they're good, but many people claiming they've seen him out and about dressed like this, chasing them. Apparently he's had multiple run-ins with the authorities who have raided his house before and found very bad things. But these are all just allegations, so no one knows for sure. But what we do know is that some of the videos are real, and I wish I could put them here, but I can't because they'll just get taken down. Videos of this guy doing some truly disturbing things and full-on chasing people. As I say, I can't post it here, but link in my bio to my full YouTube video if you want to go and watch that. But yeah, there is so many new things coming out about this guy. Apparently he's being looked into by the authorities right now, but who knows. But yeah, any more disturbing stuff I literally can't post here will be on my YouTube. But hit that follow button here, and I'll keep you updated with any new things that come out here.
Gruesome facts.
I seen that, man. That Smart Bro School 9 videos be trending everywhere on TikTok, YouTube. That's just everywhere, man. That just sounds like a freaking creepy case. I could check out a video, I guess, on YouTube if you guys seek it, if you want me to do that.
You didn't know, Part 225. In 1559, King Henry II of France was participating in a jousting tournament. During a match, he was severely wounded in the eye and brain by a splintered lance. He died of his injuries 10 days later, with his death leading to the decline of jousting as a sport in France. Actress and Playboy centerfold Yvette Vickers was last seen in 2010 after withdrawing from her family in Venice. When neighbor Susan Savage noticed cobwebs on the mailbox, she went inside to investigate. Upstairs, she discovered her mummified body. Lieutenant Colonel William Henry Rankin is one of only 2 known persons to survive falling from the top of a cumulonimbus thunderstorm cloud. He was forced to eject from his jet when his engine failed. It took him 40 minutes to finally reach the ground. During his descent, he suffered from frostbite, and severe decompression caused his mouth, eyes, ears, and nose to bleed.
40 minutes just free falling on top of the cloud.
What you just saw is the United States Coast Guard raiding a high-speed submarine in the Eastern Pacific Ocean, moving more than 17,000 pounds of cocaine. On June 18th, 2019, a Coast Guard surveillance aircraft tracked and intercepted the drug-filled narco sub hundreds of miles off the Colombian-Ecuadorian coastline. The video shows a member of the Coast Guard riding on top of the speeding submarine. He then starts pounding on the hatch and demanding it to come to a stop. 3 other Coast Guard members then jump ship and board the 40-foot-long submarine. The video then continues, and you see the presumed trafficker emerging from the submarine hatch with his hands up, surrender. And in total, 5 alleged smugglers were seized on board the vessel and were handed over for prosecution by the United States Drug Enforcement Administration.
Are these your friends, the police?
Now, just watch the full encounter unfold. It's honestly something straight out of a video game.
What's he yelling? I'm trying to say what the hell is he saying? This is something like out of a video game, out of a movie. I just jumped on it. Whew. Have to freaking balance being on top of that too.
To make sure that these criminals survive long enough to have that justice served.
Terrified they didn't really yesterday they released the popcorn bucket, man, for these movie theaters and 8 popcorn buckets. Crazy. Meet him?
You in school. Part 8.
Talk about it.
Pocahontas was 12 years old. She would entertain white colonists by doing cartwheels without wearing any clothes. This is actually one of the few things we know about her that's indisputable thanks to so many written accounts. From the 40s to the 70s, many Ivy League colleges, including Yale, Harvard, and Princeton, required all incoming freshmen to have nude photos taken of them. Administrators claimed it was to gauge the rate of diseases like rickets and scoliosis, but many believe the true reason behind them was much creepier. Most of the photos have since been destroyed, but thousands still remain in the Smithsonian's possession. In 1940, Walt Disney hired 11 little people to dress up as Pinocchio and wave to people at the movie's premiere. He left them on a theater balcony with enough food and wine for the day, but there was no way for them to get down. By late afternoon, they had all taken off their thick, sweaty costumes and were naked, drunk, and swearing at innocent parents and their children.
Damn, man.
This father's reaction after being confronted of trying to force his daughters, who are now deceased, to marry older men is absolutely disgusting. If you want to watch the prison interview plus learn the details of the story, head over to my YouTube channel. It's all there.
Wanted the girls to be wed in arranged marriages in Egypt, right? Is arranged marriage now, this is big story because some people, they don't know what that means. They think we force a girl to marry the man we like, which is wrong. Amina later wrote about her fears that you intended to, and these are her words, quote, sell them to the highest bidder, to an older man that she did not love in a land that she said she hated. Okay. What do you think about it? Very funny. Very funny, really. I'm laughing. Did you see me? I laugh. It's very funny.
Crazy history you were never taught in school. When Al Capone reached prison, he was diagnosed with neurosyphilis and eventually paroled early due to his limited mental capabilities. Only 3 objects have ever been found in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Pieces of wood, a copper hook, and a ball made of diorite, all discovered in 1872. Chang and Eng Bunker were conjoined twins who were brought to America at 18 years old to perform in a freak show. They escaped and settled in North Carolina, becoming US citizens owning slaves, marrying sisters, and producing 21 children together. 3 men escaped Alcatraz in a raft made of raincoats, and the FBI never found them. One man in the Middle Ages wrote a book claiming that witches were stealing men's private parts and keeping them as pets, ultimately leading to the European witch trials. There used to be a branch of the Nile River that ran right by the Great Pyramids. This is charcoal graffiti of gladiators drawn by children that was discovered in Pompeii.
You have to hear
More
this
you know.
Missouri man who lives inside of a cemetery actually saw the Grim Reaper. He said that he was in his house watching TV at about 3 o'clock in the morning when he heard a huge crash outside.
Oh my
Soon
gosh.
after he heard sirens and
Yeah, I decided to step out and see what was happening. I walked
When
through
he
the graveyard like a
he saw
dumbass.
cop cars,
Damn it, man.
firefighters, and an ambulance arriving. He walked through the
I wish he
cemetery
would've tagged
to
me in
get a
this
better
shit.
view of what was going on. As he looked down from the top of the hill, he saw that it was a horrific car accident, a head-on collision between 2 cars, during which one of the drivers actually died at the scene.
You got it closer
After
to
watching
exactly what I
police
said
and
than the other
paramedics
guy, but
do
he
their
left
work,
out the part where I
decided
scared
to
the
start
cop.
heading home. But then, all of the sudden,
And
he
when
heard
I
something
jumped in
drop
down with
down from
Amber,
the tree beside
pulled the
him.
covers
He
up over
turned
my
around
head.
to see what it was, and standing right in front of him was a strange, gray, faceless, humanoid figure. His heart jumped up into his throat, and he abruptly beelined it back home. He continued to hear this creature
Oh, he looked
behind
like
him, but he never
sort of
returned.
dumbass.
He got home and immediately locked the doors.
He just debunked the story, man. Like I said, watching these videos together with you guys, Seekers, you always gotta do your own research, man. He just debunked it to us in real time. So, guess that story wasn't true. It's an edit, man. Tell me if y'all expert level at spotting out the edits. I know I can't be the only one.
Let's talk about one of the most disturbing final bosses in video game history. God from Silent Hill 3. The objective of the antagonist in Silent Hill 3 is to birth the new god that Heather Mason is carrying inside of her. In fact, every time you die in the game, the demon behind me named Valtiel revives Heather. They want this new god to be born no matter what the cost. By the end of the game, Heather ends up getting rid of the god inside of her. But before she can deal the final blow, the main antagonist, Claudia here, ends up devouring the god right in front of her, trying to complete the ritual. Except the ritual fails big time. The god is born prematurely, misshapen, and only half-formed, which gives Heather the perfect opportunity to finish it off for good. Fun fact, the face that Valtiel gives God is supposed to look like Alessa Gillespie.
Whoa. I never knew that. And that happened
A
in
mother
that game.
does the most unthinkable act to her young children. Lamora Williams will spend the rest of her life in prison after she knowingly and intentionally killed her 2 toddler sons by placing them in an oven and turning it on. She was convicted of 14 charges, including murder, in the October 2017 deaths of her sons Kayonte Penn, 2, and 1-year-old Jakarta Penn. Williams contacted police claiming she found her children dead in her Atlanta apartment. Williams reported a stove on Jakarta's head and Kayonte on the floor with severe injuries. Despite Williams' claim that a caregiver was responsible, investigators concluded she had placed the children in the oven the night before. The kids' father, Jadil Penn, called the scene as being like a real horror movie. He claimed Williams' video called him after the killing, showing his motionless children on the ground. Williams was said to have suffered from a long history of mental illness that was brought on by her father's passing when she was 19 and being a single mother of 4. After her conviction, Williams was quickly sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 35 years.
Authorities have
Oh,
stopped
whoa.
investigating the case of a brazen thief who targeted a Japanese nursery school, even though the perpetrator is still on the loose. The crime spree began a few weeks ago when staff arrived to find more than a dozen indoor shoes missing from the cubbies where staff and students change into them before entering the main part of the building, as is customary in Japanese schools. The next day, even more shoes went missing, leading authorities to set up surveillance cameras around the school. And that's when they caught the unexpected culprit in action. Security footage revealed this weasel specifically selecting white canvas shoes, possibly because they were the lightest to carry, and then running off with them into the night. While weasels are known for collecting soft materials to build cozy nests for themselves and their families, this particular shoe enthusiast showed impeccable taste, making off with 22 canvas shoes in total. Although the stolen shoes were never recovered, the children were delighted to learn that their missing footwear might be helping to keep a wild friend warm warm and comfortable. These days, the cubbies are protected by netting overnight, but the little weasel's shoe shopping spree has become a favorite story at the school. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
This is why you should never run a marathon without changing your shoes or socks at least once. Because if you don't, you're gonna end up like this guy who ran 100 miles without changing a single time.
Oh, the pinkies. Oh, how do you believe? Dude.
And then committing. Change your socks, man. That's what we all took from this that clip, bro. You should change it anyway, but definitely, bro. You saw this man in 4K, man. He ran a marathon too, wasn't changing the sock. Guess you can stop, man. Or have something ready, bro. That's insane.
The alleged crime. You see her loading up her car after shopping. This all happened.
So that lifestyle influencer stole more than $500 worth of stuff from Target. She recorded everything and then went home and posted a haul. It was said that she was scanning fake barcodes, so instead of scanning the items in her cart, she replaced them with cheaper items and scanned those instead. And I mean, we've all seen videos of people shoplifting at Target, Walmart, and all that, but the reason why this video went so viral is because not only did she steal all these items, but she was recording herself stealing, and then she went home, she did a haul, and she also did a day in the life with all the items that she stole. And the only reason she even got caught was because the footage from Target was posted on social media in hopes that someone can recognize her, and one of her followers were like, I follow this influencer on TikTok and Instagram. So they reached out, and that's how they caught her. They were able to match the footage of her stealing at Target with the footage that she took to post on her TikTok, showing off everything that she stole on that day. Now, another reason why this went so viral is because people are questioning how authentic is everything that we see on social media. You know, you see this woman who has this gorgeous house, beautiful furniture, everything just seems to be put together perfectly. And little did you know, she was actually stealing this entire time. This creator has gone back to posting but has turned off all her comments, and it just makes me wonder, how are you able to risk your life, your record, you know, your family, just to have this image on social media that is completely false?
Part 7. It's a farce, bro. I've said it before, I'll say it again, man. Social media, people, they want you to see things that they control. So you don't really know what's going on behind the picture, man. It's like sleight of hand. It's all a trick. Social media, bro. People seekers, man. Wake up.
79 of some of the creepiest submechanophobia things I've ever seen. This is a gigantic dragon that is in water in Efteling again. His name is Joris de Draak, which loosely translates to George and the Dragon. I don't know why. This is just the dragon. Where the hell is George? Dutch really makes no sense sometimes. But yeah, this gigantic animatronic is sitting in like this bog in like this swamp. Someone come get Donkey and come get his girlfriend out of here. If you don't like Shrek, I don't like you. Also, bro's neck looks like a Christmas tree. Here's another terrifying photo of it. Can you imagine falling in this dirty water with this gigantic moving dragon that spits fire? I couldn't. Also, you actually see it when you're on a roller coaster. So you can either see it when you're walking on the path, or if you're on a roller coaster and you go right past it. I'd be screaming for 2 reasons. The video I have doesn't show it in the actual water, but it shows it breathing fire, and it is very creepy the way it moves. So let me know how you would feel if you were to fall in the water, or even just see this thing normally. I wouldn't like it at all.
Me either. It's not really affecting me though. They said some people was creeped out by it. I don't think it really got to me. It's still scary though. That's the edit, man. Come on. We see through that.
There is something, though, that I have to tell you that I have not told you throughout this entire documentary. There's a reason why Nico knows so much about human sacrifice and the power of human blood. I'm gonna let Nico explain all this to you himself.
I went there, and he opened the door, I stepped inside, he closed the door, that's when I pulled out the handgun and I shot him in the face. He fell down and I shot him a few other times in the skull. And it lasted 15 minutes more or less before he actually died because they were small caliber bullets.
That's right, Nico is one of the most famous convicted murderers in all of France, nicknamed the Vampire of Paris because he used to consume human flesh and drink human blood.
I'm Nico Clo, and I was born 52 years ago in Cameroon in Africa. My father...
Liam's case reminds me of Elisa Lam. There was an update showing the surveillance footage. This footage gives off a very strange and eerie vibe, and people are comparing it to Elisa Lam. His behavior in the footage seems very odd and confusing, similarly to what happened at the Cecil Hotel. In both, something feels very off and unexplained. Also, of course, I'm not trying to make light of any tragedies, like this is really sad, I'm just talking about what's going on. The Cecil Hotel is infamous for its history of unexplained death, criminal activity, eerie events, and this viral footage of Elisa Lam in the elevator before her mysterious death. It's become a symbol for conspiracies and urban legends and just mystery. The surveillance footage in both cases are leaving people wondering what happened before and after the cameras caught the moment, because in both, everybody's saying something is off. The Cecil Hotel is famous for all of the history of creepy and mysterious things happening there, and that's why people are really curious about it. In the same way, when a celebrity like Liam starts acting strangely, it catches a lot of people's attention. Do you think something deeper is going on? Hit the plus for more conspiracies. It really helps when you interact.
When I tell
What's
you
going
this
on with
story,
Cecil
the
Hotel?
No Sleep subreddit kept me up all night. First of all, posted anonymously, but it's from a child psychiatrist living out in New York City. Now, he claimed he had an experience in the middle of the night when he woke up. He said he found a child scratching at his apartment window with bloodied fingers, which, as unnerving as it is, he had chalked it up as maybe some kind of creepy anomaly. However, the following night when he woke up in his bedroom, he sensed some kind of a presence in the room. When he turned over in his bed, he came face to face with the same boy who was staring at him from the edge of his bed. So somehow this boy had broken into the apartment, and he eventually led the psychiatrist to his home in the city, which happened to be a foster home. And as it turns out, he had been returned from a number of foster families who all thought there was something wrong with him. Eerie coincidence, the next day this psychiatrist finds out he is appointed to the boy as his patient. It was like this child was stalking the guy. And if you gotta know what happens next, this is the opening plot for Before, now streaming on Apple TV.
Stillwater. I can't believe I've been making these videos for almost 5 months, and I have not talked about the terror of Stillwater. By the way, I am very sick right now, so if I sound like a frog, that's why. Stillwater is one of the most terrifying things, especially to me, but in general, it is very, very dangerous and filled with millions of microorganisms, including brain-eating parasites. You don't want to ever fall in this. Oh, and by the way, those stairs being under the water like that for I don't even know how long, if you were to go on those stairs, they would immediately break with the weight of your body, and you would crash down and be in that water with all of that underwater stuff. Underwater mechanics, underwater stairs, no thank you. Who wants to go in the Stillwater Ussie? Not me. This is an abandoned pool that I found a picture of. Look at all the lovely infectious diseases just chilling on top like that. Here's some more images to music. How do you feel about all these?
Not I. I will not be going there. Brain eating amoeba? They need to freaking put like a warning sign or
When I tell
something.
you this story on the No Sleep subreddit kept me up all night. First of all, posted anonymously, but it's from a child psychiatrist living out in New York City. Now, he claimed he had an experience in the middle of the night when he woke up. He said he found a child scratching at his apartment window with bloodied fingers, which, as unnerving as it is, he had chalked it up as maybe some kind of creepy anomaly. However, the following night when he woke up in his bedroom, he sensed some kind of a presence in the room.
When he turned over in his bed, he came face to face with the same boy who was staring at him from the edge of his bed. So somehow this boy had broken into the apartment, and he eventually led the psychiatrist to his home in the city, which happened to be a foster home. And as it turns out, he had been returned from a number of foster families who all thought there was something wrong with him. Eerie coincidence, the next day this psychiatrist finds out he is appointed to the boy as his patient. It was like this child was stalking the guy. And if you gotta know what happens next, this is the opening plot for Before, now streaming on Apple TV.
Should I check that out?
Dangerous man on Earth dubbed as the White Masked Man. There is some creepy ass stuff going on in Mexico at the moment. You may have seen this video a long time ago. Now you probably remember at the start of the year and last year when we had the whole urban legend and talk about the Serbian dancing lady. This is quite similar, but there's something really creepy about it. But this guy has actually been in the headlines for quite some time when he broke into the news back in 2023. Now this white man is often spotted around the streets of Mexico, just walking around, never wearing anything different. He lurks around and has what looks like blood coming from his mouth non-stop. Now you would think this is just a Halloween costume, but he has been wearing this every single day for nearly 2 years now. One night, apparently a young girl was just doing a jog through her town in the evening. She spotted this guy on the other side of the road just stood there, waving, staring at her. As far as we know, he hasn't actually committed any crimes, but we actually don't know. And many people are saying he's taking a lot of inspiration from the Terrifier. Is this just a guy who is cosplaying, or is it something a lot more disturbing? And what the hell is bro eating?
Yeah, what was in bro's mouth, man? I do not know. It looked like he was foaming at in their mouth. And it did seem like he looked like Art the Clown. Don't let those other eggs get to his head, man. That's an edit.
Crazy things happening in the world right now. This wanted fugitive from an Ohio case 20 years ago was found working as a police officer. The New Zealand airport just put a 3-minute time limit on all goodbye hugs. A couple made guests buy $300 tickets to attend their wedding. This woman ran over her boyfriend while going to couples therapy. A family was told that their daughter had checked out of a hospital, but in reality she had passed away. An Alaska Airlines flight was turned around after the pilot admitted that he was not certified to land the plane. An AI model changed its own code in order to give itself more time. A 3D printed community in Texas is almost finished. A man threatened a Burger King worker after not taking drugs as payment and got 143 years in prison. A Chipotle employee says that their boss chased him out with a gun for not taking out the trash. Utility companies in Louisiana want state regulators to allow them to fine customers for lost profits from energy efficiency initiatives.
That doesn't even make sense.
Vera were the parents of Kelly Marvera in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. One night, a house fire broke out, and authorities told the parents that their 10-day-old baby Delimar had perished in the fire. And it wasn't until 6 years later that Luce was at a birthday party and saw a little girl named Aaliyah and instantly had a gut feeling that it was actually her child. Luce grabbed a strand of the girl's hair and sent it off to the police for DNA testing, which later confirmed that it was her daughter Delimar. Caroline Correa, who was a distant friend of a family member, was charged and found guilty of kidnapping and arson. She was living with Delimar just 15 miles away in New Jersey. Correa was sentenced to life in prison. Delimar was returned to her real family and now at 26 years old is speaking out in a 3-part documentary to explain what life was like coping with a brand new family.
Someone made a...
Imagine, man, you think your daughter, your child is going through that pain and going at a random birthday party, having a gut feeling, and finding out that, bro, one of your friends took your child. I can't even imagine what that's like, man. This world, some bizarre things goes on.
Punch-Out style horror game, and it's absolutely free. Let's talk about Porkbound. This is one of the strangest horror games I've played all year, but it actually works. And it really is like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out as a horror game. You play as a young boxer named Aaron who works on his family's pig farm. And not only is he dealing with bullies like here, he's dealing with the death of his brother. But one night, the bullies actually show up to the pig farm to further taunt Aaron. And then everything starts to go wrong. What is happening to the pigs, and why do they look like this? What follows is a series of Punch-Out style boss fights with more and more disturbing looking pig-like creatures. And when I say Punch-Out, I really do mean Punch-Out. The game plays basically exactly the same way, but as you're beating the bosses, there's a greater story to uncover. Now, I do have a full playthrough of this game on my channel if you're interested, so I don't want to spoil the story here, but the game is also free, so I definitely encourage you to check it out for yourself.
Punch-Out?
Talking about the possible serial killer in Grand Junction, Colorado, let me tell you about one of their most infamous murder cases. The Blacks were a picture-perfect family of born-again Christians until November 13th, 2001, when Michael came home to a pool of blood. His wife Jennifer and 6-year-old daughter Abby missing. The back door was left open, Jennifer's purse was spilled out on the floor, and her jewelry was missing. But when authorities looked at the crime scene, something was off. If a stranger had broken into their home, why would they leave items of value behind, like guns and cash? And why would they move the bodies in Jennifer's van and return it to the family's garage? In May the following year, investigators start digging through the Mesa County landfill. And after removing 3,000 tons of trash, they find the mummified remains of Jennifer Black, wrapped in a tent and surrounded by trash from her husband's workplace. Michael was convicted for only his wife's murder in 2004, but 13 years later he got a second shot at freedom. It turns out a juror lied on her questionnaire about being a victim of DV. In 2018 he got the same result, life in prison without the possibility of parole. And despite being convicted twice, he refuses to reveal the location of his 6-year-old daughter Abby. It's believed her remains are still...
Disgusting, man. Truly. Be your own blood. Heartbreaking story. That's sad, man. The expert level.
DNA test, which helped solve a cold case and put her grandmother in jail. In June of 1997, the remains of a deceased infant were found inside a campground pit toilet at the Garnett Lake Campground in Michigan. There was a toilet that needed to be cleaned by an employee, so they used a suction hose to try and clean it. That's when they realized that something had been flushed down that was causing it to be clogged, and it was a newborn baby. An autopsy was done on that baby girl, and it revealed that she was full term, so she was around 36 to 42 weeks. They had no identity for the victim, so they named her baby Garnett. Once the local community had heard about this case, they were looking for answers because they had no idea who could have done this. Unfortunately, this case became a cold case, and they would not find answers until 25 years later. This girl on TikTok named Jenna made a Get Ready With Me video talking about how she had purchased a Ancestry DNA kit. She spat in the tube, sent it off, and got her results. And about a year later, in 2022, a police officer called her and told her that they had reopened a case from about 25 years ago, and that her DNA was a direct match to the victim in the case. Police end up taking a sample of Jenna's mom's DNA. With that and Jenna's DNA, they're finally able to solve the case of baby Garnett. With the information now that police had, it revealed that baby Garnett was the sibling of Jenna's mom and also the deceased aunt of Jenna. Both Jenna and her mom were aware of this case because it would be rare for someone in the local community not to know about it, and I'm sure that they were very shocked to find out that they were actually related to the victim in the case. In July 2022, Jenna's grandmother, Nancy Gerwatowski, would be arrested. She would be charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and concealing the death of an individual. The state alleges that Nancy had delivered the baby at her home and did not seek any kind of medical intervention to try and save the baby. Instead, she hid the baby in an outhouse in the campground. In October of 2023, Nancy was released on a bond, but she had to stay home and wear a GPS tracking device. In May of this year, it was revealed that Nancy would stand trial for the case. Nancy is expected to appear for a motion hearing in court on December 12th, and I'm sure we will get some more information soon. This is all the information that is out there right now. I'm going to tag Jenna's account in my caption so you can go check out her video so you can hear the story in her own words. And remember to go get those DNA test kits.
What if I told you that the Church of England banned Christmas in 1647? Well, you can't spell Santa without Satan. So, is Santa Claus really Satan, the devil in disguise? Think about it. Do you really believe people just made up a story about a 350-pound man stuffing himself down your chimney? No. The World Book Encyclopedia admits that this concept originated from the Norse legend of Hertha, a so-called goddess who would appear in fireplaces to bring good luck to the home. A devilish spirit could easily pass through a chimney in a fireplace, right? And it doesn't stop there. Druid homeowners would leave treats, milk, and pastries to appease this god who came down their chimneys. Sound familiar? That's right, it's all about worship. Even today, many religions leave milk and food in front of their idols. Now let's talk about stockings, leaving them out for Santa. This tradition is eerily similar to witchcraft practices, where socks or personal items are used in spells to target the victim. Just like how, as kids, we're told to leave teeth out for the tooth fairy. It's the same trap. So, yes, Santa will leave you some great gifts in your stockings, for sure. Oh, and here's the kicker. The word Santa is a true anagram of Satan. Yet many people believe Santa Claus is based on a priest named Saint Nicholas. But guess what? That priest never even existed. The Second Vatican Council in the 1970s openly admitted it was all a fabrication. And don't forget, people used to call the devil Old Nick. They're rubbing it right in your face. Some speculate this nickname comes from German and Scandinavian words, starting with Nick, which were used for dangerous supernatural creatures. So, who's really coming down your chimney this Christmas? Follow my backup account and leave a comment for part 2, because there's more to this than meets the eye. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment.
Normal looking, follow for more.
See, that's why I don't like planes.
In the entire world. This grieving mother added a sandbox to her little boy's grave who passed away unexpectedly. Now his older brother plays in it every time they go to visit his grave. After her daughter died in 1872 from yellow fever, a heartbroken mother wanted to make sure she would never be alone again. Since the little girl was afraid of storms, there was actually a staircase built to her coffin. And during thunderstorms, the mother would actually enter the tomb and comfort her child. This is the grave of a boy who passed away due to an incurable sickness in 1865. And before he passed away, he told his father that he was scared to die because he knew he would be buried underground with no lights. So when the boy passed away, the parents put a window in the grave so he would always have light.
Hey man, those parents and their dedication to their kids, amazing, man. Each and every single one, man, they kind of made for a way where they're not alone.
Here's some of the scariest cursed objects that actually exist.
Talk about it.
Part 6. One of the most famous and famously cursed objects in the world is the Hope Diamond. This 45.5 carat diamond was formed in the earth 1.1 billion years ago. And since its discovery, many notable people have owned it. As it was passed down from person to person, a terrible curse was said to follow it, causing great misfortune to anyone who owned it. It's been known to cause disgrace, divorce, suicide, imprisonment, torture, and financial ruin. It now resides in the Smithsonian Natural History Museum in Washington, D.C., where it can be observed by the public. It is never lended out for any reason due to its worth of $250 million, and to prevent the curse from harming any more people.
Did you
Diamond
notice
that big?
The founder of Jack Daniels passed away after kicking a safe. His broken toe was infected and he eventually passed away from blood poisoning. A study from Harvard says that having no friends is equally as deadly as smoking because they both cause blood clotting proteins in your body. This woman was elected to the House of Representatives 4 years before women were allowed to vote. Michael Jackson wanted to play Jar Jar Binks in the Star Wars prequel, but George Lucas and Michael Jackson disagreed on how they were going to portray him. George Lucas wanted CGI, while Michael Jackson wanted to play him in actual makeup and prosthetics. The country of Denmark has more than double the amount of pigs than the amount of people. It only takes 20 seconds for red blood cells to circuit through your whole body. When Mount Everest was first measured in 1856, it measured exactly 29,000 feet, but they made it 29,002 because they thought nobody would believe it.
Okay. That's just some facts, man. Top in. We're learning out here today, Seekers.
He went to check why the water wasn't running, and the reason why is horrifying. Late at night, Diego from TikTok had his water supply cut off. When he went to check the water meter, this happened.
No, yo no sé.
Ooh.
As he lifts
You
the
saw that,
cover,
right?
he hears her growl and sees what looks like the face of a person. Is this the face of an unsettled spirit in that area, or is it something else?
I think that could
Here
just
are
been
the
a person
creepiest
under
things
there.
I've ever said. And before I tell you these, I feel like I'm obliged to say, I'm so sorry. First up, we've got Monster Under the Bed. One night, a young girl couldn't sleep because apparently there was something under her bed. And when her parents came into the room to say go back to sleep because there's nothing under her bed, she replied with, I know. He's behind you now. Like, I'm sorry. Next up, a 4-year-old girl was found in the bathroom by her mum with all of her Barbies. But she was making them float face down in the bath. When the mum asked what she was doing, she replied with, the man in the wardrobe told me if I didn't do it, it would be my turn to swim face down. Next up, a 3-year-old boy was softly singing in a room while colouring in a picture. His mum actually stopped to listen because she'd never heard the song before. When she asked where he learnt it, he said the lady in my bedroom sang it to me. And finally, a 5-year-old asked his mum when he was going to be 23. His mum said in 18 years' time, and he replied with, well, I hope I don't die again, as that was how old I was the last time I went to heaven. Tell me which story made you go, what the fuck the most? And shares with a friend to just creep him out because you're a good person. Now everyone with me.
I think it was the last one for me that creeped me out the most.
Never get this pedicure because you may end up losing all your toes like this woman did. In 2010, 29-year-old Victoria Curthoys went to Thailand and got one of those fish pedicures and ended up getting an infection and had to get all her toes on her right foot amputated. I remember when these pedicures became so popular at one point, and basically it involves putting your feet into a tank filled with a specific type of fish. These fish then begin to eat the dead skin on your feet and it leaves your skin feeling smooth and clean. And I don't know about you guys, but this stuff really freaks me out. When Victoria got back home from her vacation, she began feeling sick, and after multiple tests, she was diagnosed with a serious bone infection. It turns out that the water used in Victoria's pedicure was contaminated with the bacteria that entered her body through a wound on her foot from a previous toe surgery. Victoria's big toe was first amputated to contain the disease. However, it didn't get rid of the infection fully, so she had to remove all her toes. This is how Victoria's foot looked like after. So moral of the story is don't participate in these fish spas because you really never know.
Hey man, I know we all saw that like we were freaking younger. The first time I saw something like that was on an episode of freaking Victorious or something like that, man. My sister's watching. I remember that episode that came on when the fish used to make their skin smooth or something like that, and they all got sick at the end. Man, people when they do these freaking beauty procedures and stuff like that, they risking their lives, man. It ain't worth it at the end of the day. All the toes gone. 'Cause of some fish.
The internet gives me an excuse to talk about it, I'm gonna talk about it. Otters are water-loving war criminals with plush toy privilege, let me explain. I'm usually talking about sea otters, but nah, today river rats get the smoke. Stretch weasels are a menace for 3 crucial reasons. Number 1, they're mustelids, and if you remember, that puts them in the same family or union as habitual menaces like wolverines, honey badgers, and actual badgers. Number 2, otters are the only mustelids that are social. And 3, actually, it was only 2, but it's important. Picture a poolside pack of honey badgers with gang mentality, and now you got river otters. Make them 6 feet tall, and you got the worst otters of all. Giant river otters are straight out of Satan's sketchbook, and it's not just an assault on the senses. As war weasels in the area code of jaguars and alligator cousin the caiman, I can honestly say I've seen them humble both. If you look past the Care Bear coated face and look at what's inside, you'll see a pack hunting predator. This is an Asian small clawed otter. One day, a monkey like this decided he wanted to see them up close and went into their exhibit. That decision got him jumped, waterboarded, and publicly executed all in one. In front of his family, no less. But yeah, an otter playing tag with a raccoon in a sewer but being the only one, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. They're honestly built like a sick joke.
Alright, so this is Frozen if it was a live action Dark Fantasy. We got Anna right here. There's Elsa. Our girl Elsa, what's up? What's his name? His name is like Kristoff or something like that, right? There's the Frozen Castle.
Frozen live action.
Which looks beautiful, by the way. Our boy Olaf. Yo, this is legit. Like, this looks live action. That's the trolls, right? The trolls that gave the powers. I forgot what that town is called. The father. I think that's the father. Oh, no, that's... Who is that? What's his name again?
Prince or something?
Or something like that?
Okay.
There's Anna.
I think they announced they were doing a live action.
Reindeer's name. I don't even know.
This is the stuff of nightmares. Recently, a group of people decided to go on the skyscraper at Six Flags in Mexico. But as they got to the top and started spinning, a massive storm suddenly intensified. And to add to their panic, they saw everyone on the ground being evacuated by staff because of it. The ride, which normally spins at 64 miles per hour, stopped dead, leaving them stranded 242 feet in the air. For 10 long minutes, they were battered by the storm, wondering, this is really how it ends, before they were finally brought down to safety. Moral of the story, don't go on any rides in any storms.
How many animals humans eat
True.
every year? Sea urchins? Camels? I didn't even know camels were edible. Horses?
Cat.
We ride though. Cats? Who is eating kids? Tilapia, I eat that all the time. Snails, I love to see.
Dog,
Dogs?
what the fuck?
How is dogs even up there? Guinea pigs? Shark, I can see. You know what I mean? Get them out. Cows? Oh my god, 300 million cows.
Lambs, what the fuck?
500 million lambs. Lobster, oh my god, that's probably me. I probably eat all that lobster. Turkey, salmon, I get it. Tuna, 900 million?
Rabbits? What
I've
the?
never even seen people like rabbit like that. Octopus, 2 billion? 2 billion oysters.
Billion?
2 billion, yo, wow. This is a year.
What's the
Shrimp,
what's the
I
top?
understand, I love shrimp.
Sardines.
I eat sardines too.
Chicken.
75 billion.
Man, that when it just kept progressively getting bigger and bigger and bigger, bro. People eating dogs and cat. What the hell? Why are they even on the list? That's the first question I'm trying to ask. Hey man, that list when it got bigger, bigger, bigger. That was insane. But it makes sense that chicken was the top one. That tracks. But I don't get about the cats and dogs, no.
Did you know these facts? This woman attempted to jump off the Empire State Building. She jumped from the 86th floor and the wind blew her back onto the 85th floor. The last McDonald's in Iceland may have closed in 2009, but the last burger and fries still live on today. This hero grounded 4,000 planes on 9/11. It was his first day on the job. You can receive a free Canadian flag from the government by filling out a form. But the current waiting list is over 100 years long. Heteropaternal superfecundation is when a woman gives birth to twins from 2 different biological fathers. Paris has over 44,000 restaurants for only about 2 million local residents, which makes it to be little less than 50 people per restaurant. A 1-year-old dog is pretty much equivalent to a 15-year-old person. Louis Vuitton sells fitness gear like volleyballs and jump ropes, weights, ping pong sets.
8,000?
Absolutely shocking.
Nah.
A Wells Fargo employee died at her desk, and it took 4 days for anyone to notice. Authorities say that 60-year-old Denise Prudhomme entered her Wells Fargo office building in Arizona at 7 a.m. Friday, August 16th. One of the employees at the business, who asked to remain anonymous in fear of their jobs, spoke to 12 News and said that multiple people working on those days complained of a foul odor, but just assumed that it was due to plumbing problems. She added that the reason they even discovered her when they did was that her boss emailed her, and when she didn't reply, one of her colleagues was told to go check her cubicle where she normally sits. And that's when they made that horrifying discovery. The anonymous employee said that the building has 24-hour security and that she should have been found sooner.
These are scary.
So why wasn't she?
Proven to be real. Part 1.
Up first is the Candy Lady. In the early 1900s, children in an unnamed small town in Texas started to go missing out of nowhere. And every single one of the residents blamed it on the Candy Lady. The story says she would go around leaving candy on kids' windows, and she would eventually lure the children out with notes attached to the candy saying they would get more candy. The story started getting extremely popular when a farmer found rotten teeth in his farm and also a young boy's dead body with his pockets stuffed with candy. So if you live in Texas, you better watch out for the Candy Lady.
Don't take candy from strangers. Learned that at a very young age.
Part 1. Diego. The unstoppable sex tortoise, who is 100 years old, lives on the Galapagos archipelago and has fathered over 800 tortoises.
Damn.
When a male
Putting
anglerfish
work.
meets a female, he fuses with her body, donating his brain, heart, and eyes, pretty much becoming a pair of testicles dangling from her body. Hey, that's testes. In 1912, biologists had to cover up the first published studies of penguins after observing them being the literal worst. Male on male penguin action, male on dead penguin action, male on unwilling female penguin action. Oh, and action in exchange for pebbles. If Finding Nemo was scientifically accurate, Marlin would have just changed into a female clownfish and mated with Nemo after his mother's death. Oh, and fish don't talk, but more importantly, the whole changing into a...
He just destroyed Nemo for me, man. Why? I never knew clownfish could do that.
The rarest way to die in the world. Dying by falling out of bed, 1 in 2 million. Dying in a plane crash, 1 in 11 million. Dying from a snake bite, 1 in 50 million. Dying on a roller coaster, 1 in 750 million. Dying in a shark attack, 1 in 913 million. The dirtiest things in the world. By number of bacteria. Toilet bowls, 51.2 million. Bed sheets, 72.3 million. Toothbrushes, 100 million. Your mouth, 6 billion. Kitchen sponges, 54 billion. Surprising facts about religion. Christianity is the most popular religion worldwide. Hinduism is supposedly the oldest religion worldwide. China is the most atheist country in the world. Around 1.2 billion people do not follow any religion. Somalia is ranked as the most religious country. Most stolen things in the world. Most stolen food, cheese.
Really?
Most stolen dog breed in the UK, Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Most stolen car, Ford pickup. Most stolen item, designer clothes. The most patriotic countries in the world. Percentage by people willing to fight for their country. Bangladesh, 86%. Vietnam, 89%. Pakistan, 89%. Fiji, 94%. Morocco, 94%.
Urban legends
Wow, I think US are gonna be on
Old
there.
Maggie's Bridge, located in Seaford, Delaware. Here's the story. Pregnant woman named Maggie got into a car accident on this bridge. She was unfortunately decapitated and both her and the baby died. It is said that her spirit still wanders the bridge looking for her child. Some claim that you can actually conjure her spirit by parking on the bridge at night, getting out of your car, and yelling, "Maggie, I have your baby." Now, is this story true? Nobody knows for sure. But there is a weird gravestone in a nearby cemetery for a woman named Maggie who died very young. Which state is next?
Crazy
Any
things
connection?
happening in the world right now. The heat in Washington, D.C. this summer melted off the head of a wax replica of Abraham Lincoln. State of Vermont paid this man $175,000 after arresting him for flipping off the state trooper. Ron DeSantis signed a bill making it legal to end the lives of crack bears in self-defense. DeSantis also signed a bill in Florida that makes it illegal to intentionally release balloons. NASA ran an experiment that even if we had 14 years in advance to stop an asteroid, we wouldn't be able to do it. A man wrongly identified his wife in an autopsy, had her cremated, and then found out that she was alive. A naked bike ride was organized in San Antonio and no one showed up. Justin Timberlake and Tiger Woods are opening a sports bar together. A French cyclist was fined after stopping to kiss his wife. A woman is suing the company that she's worked for 20 years for having no work. It was recently found that Americans are taking less vacation than every other country.
We grinding out here, bro. Guess everybody got time for vacation anymore, man. They're trying to get their coins up.
Have you ever seen this movie, Veronica? It was pretty scary, but did you know that this is based on a true story? And I'm going to warn you now, this is going to be 2 parts, so if you don't like part 2s, just keep scrolling. The alleged true story is based on Estefania Gutierrez Lazaro. In 1991, Estefania was a very well-rounded girl. She was loved by her family, and she was just all around good. She was living with her family in the outskirts of Madrid and going to school and just living a very normal life. One of Estefania's close friends had a boyfriend that tragically passed away in a motorcycle accident, and her friend wanted to contact his spirit. In an attempt to do so, they got their hands on a Ouija board and brought it to school. During a school day, they found a secluded spot where they could try to use the Ouija board in order to access the spirit realm. There was a nun that caught them doing this. The nun apparently broke the Ouija board in half, and her friends claimed to have seen a white smoke come from the Ouija board that entered into Estefania's nose and mouth. It was just shortly after this that Estefania's attitude changed completely. Estefania had never had any mental health issues to speak of. Her family hadn't noticed anyway, but soon she started acting out of sorts. She was aggressive with her family. She would even bark at her younger siblings. Estefania also started suffering from seizures and hallucinations. She told her family that she would see dark figures walking through the house all night that would torment her. She also claimed that these spirits or these figures were evil. Estefania struggled with these things for over 6 months. Her parents did try to take her to several hospitals and specialists, but they were unable to find anything wrong with Estefania. The doctors could absolutely tell that there was something visibly wrong, like there was something going on, but they couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. Sadly, 6 months after the Ouija board incident, Estefania passed away at a hospital. Estefania's parents were absolutely devastated by her passing. They loved their daughter very much. So they decided to lock up her room and keep everything as is. Her mother would go in on occasion and clean up, but they just left her room the way she had left it.
Okay.
But not long after Estefania's passing, they started noticing very strange things happening in the house. Part 2 will be done as soon as I'm done filming it, but it should be linked down in the comments. So go to part 2.
This woman fell in love with her patient and then was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Derek Johnson was born a nonverbal man with cerebral palsy, and he required 24/7 care from his mother. In 2009, his brother John was attending Rutgers University and enrolled in a disabilities class and met his professor, Anna Stubblefield. Anna was specialized in facilitated communication, which is a technique that's supposed to help nonverbal people like Derek communicate, because again, Derek could not speak. And basically, facilitated communication is when someone holds the hand of someone who's disabled so that they can type and communicate what they're feeling and their thoughts. John told his professor, Anna, about his brother's disability, and she offered to help Derek and teach him facilitated communication. Anna began having one-on-one sessions with Derek, and she began teaching him how to use this keyboard to communicate. And she said that she was very impressed because he was learning very, very quickly. She said that they were having full-on conversations on this keyboard, and eventually he began opening up to her, and she basically fell in love with him. Mind you, Anna was married and had 2 kids, but that didn't stop her, and she told Derek that she loved him, and she said that he told her that he felt the same way. She said that they began having a sexual relationship, and usually Derek's mother was there during their sessions, but she would find time when they could be alone so that they can do their thing. They kept the relationship a secret for a long time, but eventually they told Derek's mother and his brother John, and they were not happy at all. They felt like Derek could not consent to this because of how severely disabled he was. Remember, Derek could not speak at all, and he needed a lot of help to walk and move around. Anna was charged, and during the trial, the conversation was about whether facilitated communication was even legitimate. Experts testified and said that studies have shown that this form of communication is mainly influenced by the facilitator, aka Anna, and not the disabled person. This insinuated that Derek could not consent, and Anna essayed him. She was charged with 2 counts of aggravated essay and was sentenced to 12 years in prison, but only served 2 years. There's a documentary on Netflix called Tell Them You Love Me, and they talk about both sides of the story, and I highly, highly recommend it.
Trying to take advantage of people, bro. People like that all around the world, man. Crazy. I'm going to have to check out that documentary so we can find a full in-depth story about it. She really tried to take advantage of them. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, make sure you guys comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button, man, so more seekers can find us. Also, follow me on my social media so we always stay connected. You guys are going to catch me in the next video, man. I'm out. Appreciate you.